Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for the week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the heavy metal psychic, and these are the horoscopes for the week ending 6/27/2015. It's the first week of the sun in Cancer. We're also celebrating the summer solstice, kicking off the week with the summer solstice. Lots of things going on this week, and of course we're going to get started as we usually do with Aries. This week is a great week, but there's a little bit of an issue there. Uranus is square with Pluto this week really makes things difficult when you know that there's changes that need to be made to certain foundations of projects in your life, but you're having a bit of a hard time with the professional relationships or the relationships that are involved in those changes, and it can be a real pill, especially if you feel like you're having to focus and fight it over and over again. But the good news is Uranus is trine with Jupiter and Venus, makes for a lovely company to take you away and take your mind off of that. Of course, they're there to support you and listen to you, but at the same time, more important than that, they're there to take you away from it, help you escape from that, show you a good time, take you out on the town, and allow you to forget about your frustration so that when you come back to this situation, you come back to it completely refreshed and in a mindset to get things done and succeed without all that tired energy that you were putting into it beforehand. So a little bit of a difficulty there, but you have lots of support there outside of that to really help you go in the direction that you want to go. This is what true empowerment is all about. It's not about sticking to it until you want to beat your head up against a wall. It's about being able to walk away from it refreshed and come back with a new mindset, a new outlook, and definitely some new energy to put into the situation. So you guys do a great job with that and have a great week. Taurus, paying attention to the details of your goals and dreams is really important this week. Now, too much attention to detail is not good for any situation, because then that's where you get into the point of nitpicking the situation. Of course, you don't want to do that, and you do want to take your focus off of it every now and then to refresh your mind and body. But also, it's really important to listen to your intuition. What is your intuition telling you? A lot of the times your intuition is telling you, you skipped that detail, you might want to go fix that. My intuition works like that all the time because my brain goes in so many different directions. I've got so many things to do. I drop the ball on things a lot more than I care to admit. But all of a sudden, one of my guides, or I get this feeling I'm missing something, and then pop, it pops in my head. Oh yes, and I go right to it. You want to try and avoid, actually not try and avoid, you want to avoid beating yourself up because you missed the ball on this. It's not that big of a deal. This is your intuition helping you out. It's like consider it your own internal personal assistant at work just for you so that you can be as successful as you can be. So allow your intuition to work for you this week, especially when it comes to getting together these really important dreams that you'd like to see manifested physically in front of you. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, the week starts off a little bit bumpy as the moon moves into T-squared position with Mercury in your sign and Neptune. And this is going to cause some emotional disruptions in your day-to-day schedule, and especially disruptions towards your work, towards your dreams and goals. When you got your mind on something and you're focused on something, you want to keep your focus on it. It's really important. But when you get these emotional disturbances that kind of sort of come in and throw a wrench in everything, it makes it very frustrating because it takes you out of your flow, and at the same time, you don't want to deal with anything emotional. Anyways, who wants to deal with that, right? It's just not the right time, and you know, it really never is the right time. This week, it's really, really important to separate what's going on with the emotional disturbance and your goals and dreams. You really want to avoid them melding together because that's going to cause disastrous results, especially if you're allowing your frustration to communicate for you in any aspect of your life, but especially in your dreams and goals. Very important to keep a clear head in that. So this week, especially Sunday and Monday, you really want to focus on shutting that part off as much as you can, the emotional disturbance. Allow it its time at a later time. Don't ignore it, because it'll always come back to bite you in the boo-boo later on, and you don't want that to happen. But give it its time and then move on to what you need to move on to, which is whatever greatness you're after. So you guys, a little bit of a difficulty there. The good news is that after this, Mercury's opposition with Saturn is over, and there's no more negative aspects going on after this week. So you guys can breathe a breath of fresh air and just move on to being as awesome as usual. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, happy birthday, Cancer. The sun starts off the week officially in Cancer with the summer solstice, so it is official. It's now summer. And I just want to take the time really quick before I get into the horoscope to say a great big happy birthday to my twisted sister, Vicky Johns, also known as Stars in Her Eyes. I hope you have a fantastic birthday, because you deserve 10,000 fantastic birthdays. And I really wish that I was there to, figure out some shenanigans and some trouble we could get into for your birthday, because it would be lots and lots of fun. But I can't be there, so I'll be there with you in spirit. And if you see anything that's funny, it was me, okay? But back to the horoscopes, guys. The sun's moving in on Sunday, followed by Mars a few days later. We got some action going on in your sign. And unfortunately, the sun moves right into opposition with Pluto. And this opposition is going to stay for a couple of weeks, unfortunately. And Mars is going to join this aspect also. And it is going to create a bit of a difficulty when it feels like you're stuck between what you need to do and your responsibilities at home and what you want to do when it comes to your career or the work that you're pulled to do. And this is one of those situations that's happened so many different times in your life, and you feel yourself pulled away from basically literally your heart, which is what your home responsibilities are. But at the same time, a lot of these situations are not the drastic situations that they could be. There are some that are drastic like that, but not every situation is. So you want to avoid using these little situations as an excuse to not move forward in what it is that you want to do or what you're pulled to do. Because let's face it, sometimes what you're pulled to do is what you want to do. At the end of this week, the week ends in a beautiful way when the moon moves into Scorpio, creating a grand trine, beautiful possibilities. Now the sun is trined with Neptune all week long, allowing you to use your intuition to help you see these little parts of your schedule that can be used in a very good or positive way for both your regular responsibilities and your career. But at the same time, as the moon moves in to make this a grand trine, it's all about using what you have and using what you know from past experience. Don't allow these past experiences to drag you down as failures. Instead, use them as lessons. That didn't work last time, so I'm going to change it up and do something a little bit different, something that's actually going to be progressive to what it is that I want to do. So you guys, you're having a birthday this week. Make it an absolutely great one, especially if your birthday is the same day as Vicky's. And you guys, no matter what you want to do, you deserve to do it. You can be a power, a force to be reckoned with. And just because the force comes from your heart does not make it any less powerful. In fact, it makes it more powerful. You guys can rock anything you want to do. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, Venus and Jupiter are expanding the love in your sign this week, and trined with Uranus, they're really bringing together the relationships and the support you need to build the successes in your life that you want to have in your life. And it's a really beautiful way that they're coming together. It's just absolutely amazing when you start to see the support that you need building up around you. And this is not just for all parts of your life, although it is all parts of your life, but it really moves towards those goals and dreams, those things that you've been wanting to get together that just haven't had the time to do so yet. And oftentimes one of the biggest things or the biggest hindrances towards what we want or our goals, dreams, and wishes is ourselves. It hasn't worked out in the past, so why is it going to work now? When you are constantly faced with challenges, you start to see the difficulties before you see the blessings. Everybody does that. Well, this week, these planets coming together to bring support in a physical form, in the form of the relationships you need, the friends you need, the family you need, comes together to show you those blessings, to show you those things that are really going for you, so that you can give yourself a break from really focusing on all the difficulties all the time, because that can really drag you down. It's time for you to be up this week. It's time for you to be up, and these people are going to be there to lift you up so you can reach for the stars, because that is exactly what you guys need to do this week, is reach for the stars and go beyond, because you guys can. So you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, the moon kicks off the week in your sign and moving into T-squared position on Sunday and Monday with Neptune and Mercury is going to create some big difficulties from you when it seems like old stuff is coming up and making it difficult for you to achieve your goals and dreams, and causing some difficulties when it comes to some of the relationships in your life. Oftentimes when you get this kind of deep depressing feeling, it does affect the relationships around you, and you feel like past failures are coming up and resurfacing, and most of the time we look at it as to prove that what we're currently doing isn't going to work for us either. So why even bother? The key is that these old feelings are not coming up to prove that you don't deserve happiness. They're coming up because they need to be released. They need to be let go. While they're sitting inside of you in the pit of your stomach, they're wearing a hole in your stomach and doing all kinds of physical things to you that are not exactly pleasant and can be very painful. By releasing them, you're allowing yourself to take back the power, rather than keeping that old pain and allowing that old pain to govern what the future is going to hold. So this week when these things come up, is it fun? No. Is it difficult? Yes. And the truth is that real personal growth comes with extreme emotional pain. But it's the afterwards that's beautiful, because you can rebuild a stronger foundation every single time you go through it. And when you allow yourself to take a look at this situation, identify the root of it, come to peace with it and let it go, it doesn't come up to bother you again. And that's the real beautiful part. So you guys, be brave, because you can do this, and have a great week with that. Libra, the moon comes into your sign this week, Tuesday through Thursday, and it is an official quarter moon in Libra. It is going to be a little bit of a difficulty, especially as it moves into squared positions with the Sun and Mars, and then T-squared position with Pluto and Uranus the very next day, causing a lot of difficulties in your career, some of your relationships, and if you're not careful, it may even flow into the home as well. And when these situations take place, it seems like emotions are out of whack, and especially with Mars being part of that aspect, a lot of frustration is going to be behind these problems. And the big thing to learn from these difficulties, because that's what the difficulties are there for, is to learn from. The biggest thing to learn from these difficulties is how much power you have in the situation. And I know that that sounds weird. A lot of people will say that to me, but everybody else is in control, and I don't have any control. I just deal with what everybody else is doing. Well, that's why you don't have any power, because everybody else is in control. If you don't have any control, you can't fix it. Your reaction is your choice as to whether or not you're going to have some sort of power over this situation or none at all. And that's what it comes down to. When it starts to get heavy and it starts to get frustrating and emotional in some way, the worst thing you can do is react in an emotional way. You are throwing your power out to everybody else at that point. Even if you have to walk away from the situation to cool yourself off, you want to go back and express how you feel or what needs to be done in the loving and diplomatic way that you Libras are so good at, because that is going to make awesome productivity instead of miserable frustration. and you don't want miserable frustration. You want to be able to get things done. So this week, it's all about being able to ride the big tides, but with a little bit of grace, instead of feeling like you're fighting against the tide the entire time. You'll use a lot less energy going with the flow, and at the same time, you'll get a lot more done in the process. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, Saturn's opposition with Mercury ends this week, thank goodness, and Saturn is no longer aspecting any other planet, so it's just him on his own, and that's a really good little break there because his aspects have been really heavy lately. He's left there in your sign, showing you how responsible you are to how you think, how much that responsibility do you actually own over your own thoughts. A lot of people that I work with, and I was one of them at one time, have said, well, my brain just goes as, where it goes, and it does what it does, and it thinks how it thinks, and, there's really nothing I can do about it. But that's not true. Actually, it's your brain, and you have control over it. And it is your responsibility to work with your brain in a positive way. You'll notice how those negative mindsets will get away from you as they loop over and over and over again in your brain. And this type of thinking, or this type of negative pattern, you're not only manifesting what you're worried about to come true, but you're also getting in your own way, becoming your own obstacle when it comes to being successful. How can you be successful if you don't believe that you're going to be successful? It's just not going to work. And this is what a lot of people in this world go through. Then the moon's going to come into your sign at the end of the week, the very end of the week. And when she comes in, she's coming in to prove to you just how successful you can be. And her position as a point of a grand water trine is going to show you just how much your intuition can help you shine when it comes to your career. And on the flip side, her grand sextile position with Neptune and Pluto shows you just how easily you can make changes that need to be made when it comes to your home or your foundation. It's literally like a beautiful waterfall of awesomeness that's coming down on you, and it's showing you just how much your thoughts, really how you think about things and how you think about you, affect what is going on in your outside world. It is very important, and this water trine and all of this beautiful stuff happening at the end of the week is there to prove to you that you do deserve to have all these wonderful things. So you guys really enjoy that, because it sounds like so much fun, and have a great week with that. Sagittarius, too much work makes for a grumpy sag, and nobody likes a grumpy sag. That's just no fun at all. But this week is all about fun. It's about incorporating fun back into your life. And after the last few months of Saturn being in your sign, you definitely kind of need the fun. I mean, you really deserve it after everything that you guys have been through lately. This week, when it comes to your day-to-day duties, when it comes to the home especially, incorporate something fun. You can still do the work, but make it fun in some way. Whether you're singing through the whole process, you're laughing through the whole process, your home should be full of fun and laughter. That really is what your home is for. It's also what makes your home one of the best places to be for you. And it should not feel like work. Oftentimes it does, because it's our daily outlook on what we're doing, and it's our daily work when it comes to keeping things organized in the home. But you Sagittarians are so good at finding fun ways of being able to turn even work into a game, and this is what it's all about. Don't forget to have fun, guys. You've done all the work, now it's time to play, and you should be playing just as hard as you work. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, the sun moves into opposition with Pluto this week, which is going to be kind of a drag, I'm sorry to say. It is really going to cause difficulties when you feel like you can't focus on your job because you're being pulled by many other influences outside of your job. And when you're so focused on something that you really want to get done, that's really frustrating when you feel like you're being pulled out of that focus. But at the same time, Pluto's trine with Neptune is really showing you and helping you to use your intuition to see these many different ways that you can incorporate new things into your schedule, as well as things, tips and tricks that might help things or make things a little bit easier when it comes to your schedule. And as the moon moves into grand sextile position with these two planets, it's all about being able to see how things didn't work out in the past on a positive level. Real growth comes with difficulties. Mistakes are lessons. They're ways of growing. And when you are growing, these challenges, really what they give you is a beautiful source of self-discovery by the end of it. You see just how much you can do that you didn't think you could do before. Or you see new ways of doing things that you never thought of before. It always can lead to something positive and not necessarily, that's it, my life is over, or this is over. So basically the bottom line is there an opposition? Yeah, but are you going to really focus on the negatives or the frustrations? Or are you going to focus on how you can make those changes, or how you can ride through the tides, or just simply how can you incorporate all of this into what you're doing to make it even better than it was before? Capricorns, remember that. You guys are awesome with that kind of stuff. You guys have a great week with that. Aquarius, as you put your nose to the grind this week, getting the things done that you need to get done every day, your focus is starting to really move to those that you love. Those really important people, whether they be family members or friends of yours that are in that tight circle, the ones that you really can say, and it's not easy for most Aquarians to say, I love these people. And it can be so difficult sometimes to really enjoy the time with them because they are so much of a big part of your day-to-day routine that they just kind of sort of fall into that routine and become part of the background. And we forget sometimes to really take the time to enjoy those people. They're not just there to be taken care of. They're actually there to have fun with, to enjoy, to really just, bond with and share the moments with. This week is all about taking the time to make sure that you don't forget to have those moments with those people that you love, because we really are on borrowed time with everybody that's in our lives. Death is one of those things that, it just happens to all of us. We can't get away from it. So the best thing to do is to spend the time that you have now, because it's not going to be now forever. As we get going towards the end of the week, the part of fortune is coming into your sign on Saturday, bringing you luck when it comes to spending time with those that you love. And we're talking a real good, beautiful time to bond and just have a great time. Enjoy these people. It's not just about work. It is all about the play too. And you need that playtime in order to make sure that your work is up to par the way you want it. So you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. The moon is going to make a little bit of a difficulty as we start off the week, as she moves into opposition with Neptune in your sign and forms a T-square with Mercury. And this is going to mean some serious disruptions when it comes to what it is that you want to do, period. And you don't want to deal with these disruptions. You want to just focus on everything that you need to do to get what you want. But unfortunately, these disruptions are old wounds that need to be healed, and they keep coming up because they need to be healed. Now, it's not easy to face these things head on and deal with them, and our human reaction is normally to avoid that as much as possible. Unfortunately, though, the more we avoid that, the more often these disruptions are going to come up. Now, facing these things is, like I said, difficult. But once you do, you have no idea how much you can actually get accomplished once you've done this. Because now you faced it and it's done with. And on top of that, the disturbance isn't going to keep coming up. You've worked on the root, you've identified it, you've embraced it, you've said, okay, enough, I don't want to feel this feeling anymore, you've let it go. And now you've saved yourself from having to deal with that old emotional hurt again. As the moon moves into a more favorable position at the end of the week, she moves into a grand water trine, showing you just how wonderful it is to allow that negative emotion to go away and not own it anymore. It makes you feel empowered, it makes you feel like you're on your way to victory, and it makes you feel like you're an unstoppable force towards getting your dreams. So it may be a little bit of a difficulty at the beginning of the week, but by the end of the week, you're on top of the world, baby. So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks for listening again. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Don't forget to come check out all of our links, all the things that we do. And of course, the Heavy Metal Psychic every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, always on www.paramaniaradio.com. And of course, you can check that out on the Heavy Metal Psychic Facebook page every single week to find out what it is that we're doing. But I am signing off for this week. Thanks again for listening, and see you guys next week.